How did you two hook up to get this going on? I mean, I know Eric's passion for it, but David, how did you get hooked up with Eric for this project?
Well, Eric asked me. We've known each other for 20 some years, right, Eric?
Yeah, 21.
21 years. And I used to be editor of a small magazine that Eric wrote for. I guess you were sort of starting out.
1999.
Yeah. And he was awfully good. I don't know what happened, but he was awfully good. I was editing this magazine and I was just going nuts trying to find people who could write. So I was very happy. And we've written 3 books together since.
Oh, yeah. What are the other 2 books?
Eric?
What are they? America's National Parks?
And Amazing Places in North America.
Okay. I got that.
Oh, hello.
This is my little peanut. That's why I was late today.
No worries.
What a cutie.
Yep.
Hi.
Well, the new book, I haven't had a chance to read it all. I mean, I flipped through every page, but I haven't read it yet. And it is awesome. And it's like this, it's the kind of book that I've been waiting for Denver history ever. And there's only, knowing Eric doing the Colfax walk, the Broadway walk, the Roadside America books. And Eric knows my passion. Well, all the Ramble books too, as far as the travel and the oddity America stuff. And there's stuff in there that I hadn't heard before. What was your favorite part? I mean, your favorite thing in Denver to do? The favorite weirdest thing in Denver to do?
Well, I guess for me, it's going over to 19th and Market, where the House of Mirrors is. Which was, the most prominent bordello in Denver history, I guess. And the facade of the building is unchanged, and it's really an amazing looking building. It's got these weird little sculptures of heads sticking out of the facade. And I'm just glad that it was never torn down. It's still there just the way it always was. Now it's a disco.
What club's there?
Called Neon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's the name of that building?
It's the House of Mirrors.
The House of Mirrors, yeah.
Yeah, historically.
How about you, Eric? You've traversed Denver, east to west and north to south.
Yeah.
So, what's your favorite part of the city?
Well, in this book, we covered 50 miles in every direction was what the kind of the guideline we decided on. But Lakeside's always a favorite.
Yep.
It being such a, I think people don't realize that it is really one of the most historic amusement parks in the world. It's the only operating white city. The Devil in the White City book, the series H.H. Holmes, and so they built 50 of them. One in Australia, some in the UK, but a bunch in. And the Denver one is the only operating white city of all of them to this today. Most have been burned down. A few have a little bit of remnant, but the only one that's still paying or getting paid customers is his Lakeside.
Yep. I've been fascinated by Lakeside for years. We were working with Bree and Dan Crozier trying to get an interview with the owner lady there, and she's been impossible to get in touch with as far as that kind of stuff.
The daughter?
No.
Rhoda.
Rhoda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've gotten the daughter, Brenda. Brenda is the daughter's name, and I've gotten her on the phone. But Rhoda, I think, she's got to be a little up there in the years. I don't know how much she does interviews or not.
Eric also wrote an interesting piece about the Lakeside racetrack right next door.
Oh, yeah. It's also got a lot of dark history up there, too.
Mm-hmm. On the Speedway is kind of interesting, because the dark history was the final race was the car flipped into the audience and killed a spectator, and that was in the 80s. It was the place. It was the Bandamere. It was the racing place in Denver, but from the 50s to the 80s about, and then no more. When that happened, now it just sits there. If you look at the Google map of it, it's just trees growing in the middle of the grandstands, and in the it's still intact except it just overgrown, and you just kind of wonder why they don't do a little more with some of that land up there.
I agree. Especially the way Denver's going. If they just sit on it, they're going to end up selling the whole property anyway, and then we'll be out of Lakeside. We'll be out of having that awesome history.
Well, I think it would be great if they did that, they leave up the Cyclone and a few select rides, but then you have your townhomes within it, and you're able to, like, as your HOA payment includes free rides on the Cyclone, would be an ideal.
Would be great.
But yeah, I asked her about that. When I interviewed Brenda, she was like, I was like, is there any possibility you guys will develop any of this land, residential or other uses? She's like, no way, not a chance. I mean, is what she told me. This was a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How many acres? How large is it?
Well, it's its own city. It's the least populous municipality in Colorado with 8 people, and that's why it's able to just steamroll over any like public input on when it put the Walmart in and the liquor store in, and it's just like there's no city council meetings. Well, there's 8 people, and most of them are probably employees of the park. I think they have its own police force of like 3 people or something.
Yeah, and that's just the right parking tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, but another one that sticks out on a different note was the Ice Core facility, the National Science Foundation Ice Core facility at the Federal Center out in Lakewood. It's like the world's largest collection of ice cores, these huge cylindrical things drilled from glaciers in ice fields all over. And there's, a 55,000 cubic foot freezer that's kept at like about 40 below to store them. And one of them's like a couple miles long. They cut them into links, and then scientists request samples, and they send them off to scientists to study climate all over the world. It's a fascinating.
And that's at that big Jefferson County building?
No, it's on the Federal Center. So you're going out on US 6 West, and it's just there towards what Wadsworth-ish.
Yeah,
kind of like.
Well, we had two entries from the Denver Federal Center, and I wrote up the other one, which is the FEMA headquarters, Federal Emergency Management Agency. And the cool thing about it is it was built in 1969. And the whole idea, it was like the heart of the Cold War. And the whole idea was that it was built to withstand the most severe imaginable nuclear attack.
Wow.
So it's built underground. I mean, there's an above ground entryway, but the rest of it is built underground, and it's all reinforced, and they have their own water supply and an 800-foot deep well and a huge water tank and steel vault blast doors. And
wow,
I was there years ago, and so when this book came up, I said, oh, this is ideal. Nobody's ever heard of this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't tour it. But we had maybe 3 federal. The other federal thing is the world's most accurate clocks up in Boulder.
Is that with Andrew Novick on that one? Did you talk to Andrew for that one?
That's right. He works at NIST, huh?
Yeah. He does the atomic clock stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
He's a local legend. David, are you familiar with the Warlock pinchers?
No, I'm sorry, I'm not.
Well, the book is selling really well.
Yeah.
So it's been really, really well received at the shop. So
that's great to hear.
Yeah, because it's a fun one, and it's one of these things that we need now. That now people can go out as a duo or families and go see all these amazing things. You got the Castlewood Canyon Dam in there. I remember that, right?
Yep. Yeah. The dam that would never fail, that failed after 2 years or whatever.
When I was in high school, we'd go down there and crawl inside the dam, the damaged parts way down in there and party. And now when I go back and look at it, I'm like, wow, I can't believe we didn't die crawling into that damaged old dam, Yeah. But that was great to see, because that area too has lots of ghost and alien activities and Indian graves. I remember
that's an amazing park.
Yeah, it is. I went to school in Douglas County, so whenever anybody got in trouble or ran away, you had to do your public service hours at Castlewood Canyon, or if you ran away, you'd go to the far end of it by the dam and hide.
just hang out for a couple days until you're ready.
I slept under a couple of those picnic tables. Just put a tarp over the top. It's a cheap tent for a teenage boy.
Really
fantastic. Are you guys? So, if you were somebody coming from out of town, what 3 things would you recommend out of the book to go do, if you had a 1-day or 2-day trip to do it?
David, you got a couple?
Yeah. Well, if you're driving, I'd go to Eldora. Trying to remember now. Eldora is the historic district near the ski resort up there, which is just an amazing place. It's got like 200 log cabins and stuff. It's never been touched.
Yeah.
And I'd do that. I'd go to Nederland, right nearby, and if you were there for the festival, what am I thinking of, Eric? You know, I'm blanking out here.
Dead guys.
The Frozen Dead Guy days. That's quite amazing. But my personal favorite, I think, of all is Lamb Spring, which is an archaeological. It's called Lamb Spring.
Yeah.
And it's an archaeological preserve just south of Littleton, near Chatfield.
Oh yeah.
And it's where more mastodons were discovered. They found the skeletons of 33 of these humongous beasts. It was a hunting ground 8,000 years ago or more.
Wow.
And there's some disagreement about exactly what it is they found there, because the archaeologists, are very conservative in what they'll claim. But when I went to the lecture and the tour, the guy said, "Oh no, there's butcher blocks, and you can see it was a very early example of butchery and chopping up, catching, killing, and butchering these animals." And when you start to realize some of the archaeology of this area, it's just amazing. I mean, these people lived a few miles away behind the hogbacks. Evidently, there were bands that lived behind hogbacks all the way down to who knows where, Colorado Springs.
Wow.
And once a year in the spring, they'd all get together and mate because they knew not to mate with their brothers and sisters. So they'd wait till all the bands got together and have a little mini Woodstock, in the spring. And the whole thing is just fascinating. And there's like a zillion archaeological sites around this area. But
I wish we had covered more of that when I was growing up, because we have that whole idea that there was nothing here until the French and Spaniards came. But prior to that, I mean, thousands of years we've had
thousands of years, and there's some really great archaeological sites like up near Fort Collins and all around this area.
I love it. What about you, Eric?
Well, I mean, I go back. Lakeside is always just such an iconic place for me. Just how it looks, I love going there. But we've hit that pretty hard. But Tom's Baby. Are you familiar with the Tom's Baby at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science? It's the largest hunk of gold ever unearthed in Colorado. It was 13 pounds when they pulled it out in the late 1800s near Breckenridge.
Wow.
And then the guys, it's called Tom's Baby, is one of the guys was Tom, and they wrapped it in a blanket when they brought it back into Breckenridge that night and got good and drunk and passed around the baby in the blanket. The next day they sold it, and it went on a train, and basically it disappeared for 50, 60 years at one point. Like nobody knew where it was really. And then in some vault that the Denver Museum of Nature and Science was renting, somebody in a box allegedly labeled dinosaur bones, somebody found it in like 1972.
Wow.
But 3 pounds were missing. It was 10 pounds instead of 13. And so but now that remaining chunk, and the big secret is like, what happened to those 3 pounds? But it's on display, the remaining 10 pounds in the Coors Gem and Minerals Hall there. And then the third one is, have you ever been down to the National Ballpark Museum right by Coors Field?
No.
It's this guy's one of the biggest collectors of baseball memorabilia on the planet. And
really?
Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's literally just kitty corner on Blake there. I can get the exact address, but he's focused on the classic ballparks, the only two that exist today being Wrigley and Fenway.
Yeah.
But he's got chunks of old Yankee Stadium, on old Forbes Field, old Ebbets Field. He's got like pieces of the architecture. He's got turnstiles. Wow. He's got the uniforms for the guys, the ushers, or what, the guys that they used to wear the nice suits at the ball games when they were selling stuff. And it's just on 1940 Blake. Like you could throw a rock to the front of Coors Field.
I'll definitely check that out. That's right up my alley. I can't believe I haven't heard of that one.
It's great, and it's just kind of this diamond in the rough, baseball diamond in the rough type of thing, But it's this guy Bruce. I've got his name right here, Hellerstein, who's an insurance broker, and it's an incredible museum that just got him hidden in plain sight.
Well, it's great. I mean, this, again, with the perfect timing on your book, it's like a lot of the old school Denver people are feeling really burned and jaded, and I don't know, not as in touch with feeling home as home here is anymore. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself and my crew.
No, you're not. You're not just speaking for yourself.
So, I mean, to see this book now, after we've lost people, we've lost businesses, we've lost all these things, for me, it kind of reinvigorated my love for the town. And it's like I personally have been waving the pom poms for Denver for 20 years. And the last 12 months have been absolutely exhausting. So to feel reinvigorated and back in love with a city that I've been, a little troubled with lately has been really nice, and I appreciate both you guys for doing that.
Oh, thanks, Jim.
That's and it was like, that's what I was talking with Matt when I got it going through it. It's just like, oh man, I forgot how much I love this town. And then when you're bringing these things up that I don't remember, that I don't know, and I'm notorious for knowing everything, So when you throw these things that I don't know, and I can't wait to go check out a bunch, and I've got this new little peanut to take around town, and get her in touch with the history of Denver, that there was an amazing town before we got super gentrified. That book right there.
Yeah.
So
well, I definitely got some ideas from reading Phil Goodstein.
Like the steamy side of Denver one, my copy's falling apart because I've read it so many times and walked around to look at the bordellos and the murder scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that I'm not sure if I think Mutiny, when it was something else, made it in that. Oh yeah, when it was Ichabod's, when they got arrested for the book steal, the book ring.
We're hearing about that. Well, they'd have some people would pay people to, or people would go steal books from B. Dalton or whatever.
Jack was involved with all that, but he wasn't the owner, so he got to buy the shop after the owner got arrested for it all. So
did they get into the hubcap Annie in that one? Did you ever hear about her?
Yeah. What happened with she had that whole crew too that was out.
Yeah, she had a crew that would go during Broncos games and steal the hubcaps and then follow them through her place. She had a hubcap ring, and she went to prison or something for it.
World, no, David, it was nice to see you again.
Great to see you again, Jim. And
awesome. Don't be strangers.
To your store.
Yeah, come down and say hey. I'm there a lot. I'm Tuesday through Friday from 1 till 7.
Okay, great.
But I live a block away, so I can head down there anytime.
Okay. All
right, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Jim. I appreciate it.
Your baby.
Yep, she's amazing. Have a great one.
Beautiful.